Welcome back. You're watching Hard Copy, coming to you from our studios in Abuja. My guest tonight is Nigeria's Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, and we're about to sink our teeth into the suspension and controversial recall of the Executive Secretary of the NHIS. Recently, there were accusations against the NHIS Executive Secretary, whom you had cause to suspend. He's been recalled now, and there's been total silence on why he was recalled. Why did you suspend him in the first instance?
Well, the suspension came about because there was a recommendation from the permanent secretary who recommended that we should suspend him to allow for free investigation of the allegations against him.
Now that he has been recalled?
The committee produced a report which we submitted to Mr. President through the Office of the Chief of Staff. And at the end, the President, in his wisdom, said we should recall him. And he was recalled.
Were you consulted?
Well, I'm not going to tell you the inner workings of government, but Mr. President doesn't have to consult me before recalling someone. Mr. President did not consult anybody before appointing me a minister.
Do you think that it undermines your office?
I don't think so.
If you suspended the NHIS Secretary as Minister of Health, some people will say it's an agency under...
It's an agency under me, but
Ministry
the buck stops on the table of the President. Who takes the decision? He has wider view of issues. He has the opportunity of listening to advice from all sides. And at the end of the day, he says, let him come back. I can't query him.
Do you think it undermines your office?
I don't think so.
Do you think you can query the Executive Secretary in future?
I will, if there's a need for it.
Do you see any need for it right now?
If none, if anything comes up again, I will do so. I'll query him.
How would you describe your relationship with President Buhari?
Excellent.
Excellent. It's interesting you say excellent, considering the fact that in 1984 you were president of the resident doctors, and I think you led them on a strike. And the president, the head of state was not happy. You went on exile, and now you're back as a minister for health under his administration.
It shows him as a man with a large heart. Under normal condition, he would not have appointed me minister. But that singular act, to me, shows the president to be a thoroughbred statesman, someone who would look beyond petty issues in taking decisions and making appointments.
How did you view him then as head of state, and how do you view him now as president?
Differently.
Why?
Because of my exposure, because of my understanding. And going abroad also helped me. It changed me as a person. Let's be honest, it changed my perception about the health sector. It changed my perception about strikes. And by the time I came back, I became a changed person. And I went to the NMA summit and said, look, doctors must never go on strike on frivolous grounds. And secondly, even when you have a strike, it must never be total. And that strike helped me because it exposed me. I saw a different side of it. I also felt that unions must be responsible to their membership. No, there's nowhere in the world where unions would go on strike and say they must be paid.
You talk about how our centers for excellence are excellent. I mentioned the National Health Hospital. You seem satisfied with the services that they're currently providing.
I think you are quoting me out of context.
Well, you have the chance to...
Saying I'm satisfied,
yes,
can never be from me, because I always believe they can do better. In fact, one of my major weaknesses, I rarely commend people. But sometimes people who are close to me, they know when I'm quiet, that means they're doing well.
Do you think that the fact that none of our centers of excellence is good enough for our president to seek medical treatment in, is it some form of indictment on our healthcare system?
I don't think so. There's also a Nigerian angle to it. Nigerians are so secretive. We are also lax about data and information management. Let me tell you, the average Nigerian does not want his medical condition exposed.
Are you saying that the president has gone abroad for treatment because he doesn't want his medical condition exposed, not because he do not have the expertise here?
I cannot speak for the president because he's an individual. But I've interacted with a number of my colleagues. And I know there's always a penchant to not to go to public hospital. They want to go to a private hospital. And when you ask them, say, oh, when we are there, whatever we have is well managed and the information is well contained. That's one. Two, there's a doctor-patient relationship. When you are used to a doctor, you want to keep to that doctor. I have a physician in Ibadan. But by the time I got to Abuja, I didn't want to consult anybody. But I love doing regular checkup every year. So I had to look around, who can I use, who can I talk to? Until I met a lady, a professor, who said, look, I can give you this checkup. And I've been having my regular checkup every year. My advice to anybody is treat yourself the way you treat your car, regular checkup. But let me also say clearly that if you are being treated for something or you are being checked up for something, you don't want to just go to another doctor. I'm a gynae person. What will be shocking to you is that when you are seeing a lady, that lady will not want to see another doctor, no matter the circumstance. When you have course, and that really started even during my training, you had an interaction with a patient, and you say, oh, man, I know what is wrong with you. You say, no, go and read my records. I've spoken to your boss. Oh, I've done this. I've spoken to another doctor. So there's that reluctance. So I don't want to really attack the patient-doctor relationship, which I suspect the president must be handling. And I also believe that the president has a right, as a person, to decide on where to be treated.
You don't think it's an indictment on our healthcare system?
I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Do you think that it looks good, though? I mean, that our president is not able to get health care here. It's not the first time that any president is having to seek medical treatment abroad.
Because we are making it look as if the president is the only one who goes out. I think that's wrong. It's not the only one. We want to see it happen. It's going to happen. He has approved the upgrade of a facility. But let me also tell you, the president asked his son to be treated in Nigeria. Even when people are clamoring that the son should be flown abroad, he said no.
But eventually he was.
I met with him. No, he just went to Germany for rehabilitation.
But he went abroad.
But he had the surgery in Nigeria.
But he went abroad.
No. You see, you can do rehabilitation anywhere.
Honorable Minister, he traveled out of this country.
What for?
We do not know, but he traveled out after his accident.
I'm telling you that the son was treated in Nigeria. Take that from me, as the Honorable Minister of Health.
I'm not having, what I'm saying is that to the ordinary Nigerian out there, yes, we know that he received some treatment here in Abuja, but we also know that after that, he was out of the country.
Don't people go out even for holidays? Don't they go out?
Was he out for a holiday?
No, that's the holiday.
Oh, it was a holiday?
Oh, it was.
What do you make of it? I mean, you saw the tweet of the First Lady, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, saying, talking about, the Aso Rock hospital, the Aso Rock clinic, and how syringes and basic things were difficult to come by.
I had her saying so physically.
Yes.
And the next day I went to the clinic.
How did you feel about it?
I went to the clinic. The clinic is not under us. The clinic is not under us. I went there. There are systemic problems with the clinic, and I made some recommendations. So I commended her for bringing it to light. I couldn't have known without her saying it. So it wasn't a tweet. She said it openly. She's forthright.
Do you think that we should have a system where Nigerians can voice their, disenchantment with our healthcare system as she was able to?
Oh, I would love that.
What are you doing to put it in place?
Oh, I received text messages. There was a day I was woken up by someone who said, my wife is in labor, my Tama hospital. I drove there.
Honorable Minister, you can't handle it all by yourself. Shouldn't there be an institutional system where we can complain?
We're working with NCC. NCC are giving us some numbers, so we're working on that where we want to receive your complaint. But let me also tell you that some of the complaints are frivolous. We're overwhelmed. When you investigate some of those complaints, they are false.
What do you say to those who say that a lot of our doctors are traveling out of the country because they're dissatisfied with what is happening here? How do we hope to keep those that we train here?
We can't keep all of them here.
True.
That's the truth.
But how do we keep the majority of them here?
There's migration. Well, it depends on the absorptive capacity. Federal government has taken more than enough. We have no vacancy. If you are qualified today, we can't take you. We're overwhelmed. We have more doctors than we needed in the tertiary system. The problem is at the state level. Unfortunately, it also has to do with pay. When you look at the pay structure at the state level, they cannot pay the federal. And when they cannot pay, you can't stop people from looking for better pay. We can't absorb them. If I want 100 doctors in tertiary hospital today, I'll get it tomorrow. But we don't. We don't have the space. We don't have the money.
We do not know when your tenure as Minister of Health will end, but what do you want Nigerians to, take away from your administration as Minister for Health?
Well, we want to be known or really remembered for restructuring the health system and also putting in place a structure for keeping Nigerians safe with respect to public health. And that's what we are doing with the Nigerian Center for Disease Control. It's to be one of the flagship projects of this administration, building capacity to tackle public health outbreaks.
Honorable Minister, thank you for coming on Hard Copy.
Thank you so much.
My conversation with Professor Adewale touched on a lot of areas that we could not take here tonight. But please do log on to our website, channelstv.com, for the entire interview. You may also send your feedback to the handles on your screen and follow us on @CTV Hardcopy. Thank you for watching tonight. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf. Good night.